Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures, and it is time for my favorite thing of the week, bringing you some obscurities in literature. And this one is so obscure, in fact, that I didn't actually know it existed until relatively recently, which is funny because I'm pretty familiar with the artist's work. Today we're going to look at Dan Brereton's GIANTKILLER. I think we first discovered Brereton's work with his prestige miniseries, The Psycho. And if I remember correctly, I want to say it was with DC. He's done a lot of stuff with DC. But at the time even, what really stood out to us when we came across it was the painted artwork. And that's always been kind of a staple of a lot of his work. Obviously, his big ticket at this point is the Nocturnals. That's his, big pet project he's worked on for many years. I don't know if I've ever done that on this channel or not. I'm honestly going to have to go back and check. I feel like it's just one of those things everybody's kind of familiar with. But nevertheless, his work is something that we've followed relatively stably over the years. And whenever we've come across anything, we've always, picked it up, myself and my brother, in fact. When it's in Japan, that is, when he was big on comics, and still is to a degree. But nevertheless, I didn't know it existed, and while at first glance it seems like a bit of a knockoff of Hellboy, which I guess in a sense you could say it is, in that you have a monster that fights monsters. And then that's, pretty generic, especially in terms of, tropey, horror-filled comic books. And obviously with a title like this, Kaiju, I don't know. Anyway, I know my son mentioned he thought it sounded okay, but he's like being Mr. Nitpicky, Japanese grammar police lately with me. So anyways, yes, it's all about hunting kaijus. And one of the interesting things about this is, even though this was actually originally released by DC, the image collection here actually has the field guide, which I don't really recall ever knowing existed. So that's kind of a cool thing. Anyway, as we were mentioning, right off the bat, full painted artwork, which is, as I said, a staple of Brereton's work. His style is something that might be needing to get used to. He's always kind of done his own thing. I've always kind of enjoyed it, so that's fine by me. But you really, I feel like, in its essence, get exactly what you expect with something with that title, GIANTKILLER. Oh, and we should probably also mention that the heroic monster here, his name is Jack. Get it? Jack the Giant Slayer. Yeah. I do like the fact that we have, early on, two big hairy monsters. A very War of the Gargantua's nod there. But as the story progresses, there's just tons of monsters, big battles. Of course, things start to grow giant because, well, you can't, fight giants without having other giants. And there's just lots of fun creature designs. Very much a throwback with the colors and things happening, and for that I am absolutely here for those types of things. Skipping through the story a bit so I don't spoil much. In the back, as I said, you have the monster field guide, which was a one-shot that got released after the original miniseries. Being somebody that's always been a big fan of monster manual type books, kind of cool to see those in there. I'm skipping through it and there's a ton, but also of note are a lot of the early initial sketches and design work that went into the creation of the book. I really do like the monsters design. It's not as simplified as, Hellboy's stuff, or as, I don't know, super heroic, for lack of better terms. The big giant tail is something I really like. It's different. It's not something you usually see. What's interesting is at times his sketch stuff does give off a bit of a Vignola vibe as well. That very kind of angular, blocky look to it. And I do appreciate the liner notes as well. Liner notes as if it's an album or something. So a fun little book for a fun little video. And hopefully if it sounds like something of interest, because obviously you have giant monsters that are being sanctioned by the US government to go off and fight other things. It's got shades of a lot of other, you know, elements of the genre, for lack of better words. Pacific Rim comes to mind immediately. There's shades of that here, but it is very much its own thing without getting into spoiler territory, which I'm trying not to. But since it's just a quick little one-time miniseries, you know, who knows, maybe it will be something that gets revisited in the future. I'm kind of surprised, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like this is like a perfect character to toss into the Nocturnal stuff. Maybe it is, and I just haven't been aware. I have not read Volume 2 of the Omnibus series, so maybe there's something in there that I missed out on. If you know any more than me, by all means, please share it down below. But in the meantime, this might be a bit of a hunt, because it is out of print, at least this version. There is a much larger hardcover collection that is going to run you a lot more money, but it's going to be a lot more sweet looking on your shelf. I do want to say that there might be a few extras in that, but that's pretty recent. You might want to look into that. I think it was a Kickstarter. I don't have a link for that, unfortunately, yet. But if anybody has any more info, by all means, dump it down below, because I'm sure there might be other people that are interested. So, with that said then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.